Tonight we're going to review a Demo Shop guitar. Welcome back, Troglodytes, to your daily dose of guitar information, the Trogly's Guitar Show. So a viewer of the show named Connor was having a bit of a problem. He wanted a guitar out of the Gibson Demo Shop, but it's a USA exclusive and he's in Canada. So how do you get around that? You use my forwarding service, my friends. So we're gonna go ahead and check out his brand new ES-335 in a blueberry burst finish today. Prior to him wanting this guitar, I never realized that this was a Guitar Center exclusive finish. I mean, as far as I can find, that is true. Now, can you find it at Musician's Friend as well? Yes, but they're all within the same parent company, so it makes sense. But blueberry burst was first introduced, I believe, in like the late 2010s era. That was somewhere around 2017. And it took the world by storm, and it was on a Les Paul, and then they eventually brought it to these other models. But something I'm noticing about this one is on many modern day 335s, you get a bursted edge. This one is just straight up blue, at least until you get like right by the neck heel. That is interesting and something I wasn't expecting. And the blueberry on this current one, it's really pale right here. I've had blueberries in the past that were a little bit more vibrant. It definitely seems to change throughout the years. Like, I would almost call this like a grape neck. I know it's appearing a little bit dark here on camera, but it's interesting in person. I kind of like it. But there is our demo stamp. Now, if you don't know what the Gibson Demo Shop is, it's located on Reverb. It's where they send their less than factory first quality guitars, and they sell them at a discount. There's also something called the Mod Collection. We document every weekly release on my show on Sundays, but that's usually when they like highly modify and refinish the guitars. The demos, it's just them clearing out inventory that's not perfect. And it can be for varying reasons, but they do include a little worksheet here that tells you a few things that they noticed that was wrong, including with the case. What stood out to me right away is like a couple of dings right here. We've got some sort of an impression over there, but overall, not too bad for saving $1,000 because these are $3,999 brand new. Now, just because this particular blueberry burst is a Guitar Center exclusive, that doesn't mean that's the only way to get a semi-hollow in this finish. Gibson just recently came out with the new ES Supreme. However, I would say their hue is even more significantly different from this one, but is still called blueberry burst. But the Epiphone lineup has one for $699. Now that one looks a little strange in my opinion as well. So they all have their own unique things going on. But besides our guitar and our little checklist here, what else do we get outside of the case? The demo shops actually do get a COA. It's just a half booklet. Usually Gibson USA products do not come with these. You also typically get a couple of picks. I like them. It's just they shed all over your guitar when you use them. Then we also get our little Gibson goodie bag. It's got the multi-tool, other paperwork, as well as a basic Gibson strap. But overall, first impressions, I didn't know if I was gonna like this top based on the photos, but I would say it looks way better in person, especially because of those edges. That is just magnificent. So to learn more about this one, let's go ahead and throw it onto the Workbench to take an individual look at its parts and specs before we get this packed up and shipped on to Canada. I'm really glad I decided to do the review on this one because I'm learning a whole bunch of stuff. So I was able to go to Guitar Center's website, and you can see a side profile shot that does indeed show that they just spec'd it out as complete blue rims. But check out this toggle switch tip. I have not seen this on a Gibson before. It's made of metal. I wonder if they're going to start doing that on the regular production ones outside of historic reissues because they're tired of them breaking and shipping or something. I only noticed it because the shape was so vastly different. But Guitar Center's website calls the pickups for this model the MH2, which stands for Memphis Historic Spec. But Gibson Memphis is no longer in production. Now, sometimes Guitar Center will do limited edition runs to help use up old parts. For example, the Blood Moon and Dark Knight Les Paul used up the old HP style super duper flight cases that Gibson had toyed around with. But Guitar Center's website's also not really well known for having the specs right on all their guitars, so I'm not exactly sure if those come with that or not. But this particular one has the regular 335 pickup at this point in time, the calibrated T-type, which is basically a version of the old T-top pickups. But you will notice our water slide decal is missing on that one, but present on the neck. As far as our cavities, everything's looking peachy in here. You can see your maple center block that has your mahogany neck joined into it. The top, back, and sides are maple, poplar, maple sandwiches that they press to form these shapes of the rims as well as the belly of the guitar. I know it looks like a carved top, but no, it's technically a pressed top. And then right after the top 3, you get your spruce bracing before your maple center block, and then you have that exact same thing on the bottom side of it as well. And here's our bridge pickup cavity. Gotta say, that's probably one of the worst routes I've ever seen. Like, there's just a whole block of wood left there. But the semi-hollows are usually the worst of it, because the spruce likes to splinter. But here's another good look at that cross-section. Shows you all the distinct layers even more clearly. And here's where you can see through to the other side of the spruce bracing. But the readings of those pickups: bridge 7.43, neck 7.2, and the middle, just for fun, 3.66. And it's just your regular controls: volume and tone for your neck, volume and tone for your bridge, and they're shipping with the reflector knobs. As far as our bridge and tailpiece, it's your regular Gibson USA style with the bushings in the body. However, they slap an ABR1 on top of that just to make it look a little bit more historically correct. But the posts give you modern features like Allen key adjustment if you don't want to use the thumb wheels. And the tailpiece is lightweight aluminum by API. I'm curious, how do you guys feel about this without a pick guard? For me, I like this model with one. It just adds a little bit more pizzazz. When I had first unboxed this, some of those things I was reading on the condition report, I was like, I don't see any of this stuff. But once I got it onto my workbench, that's probably how some people feel like when they buy from me. So if you get it in the light just right, you can see a lot of deep scratches right here. Like maybe the buffing wheel just went a little bit too crazy. They need to add some more lacquer and polish it up. Then I also noticed like a small ding right there. There were some other dings somewhere. Yeah, there it is. One right by the bridge, a small dimple, and then another small one right there by the bridge pickup. While we're pointing flaws out, something kind of boogered up your pickup ring right there too. There's other spots too, but honestly, it just looks like the custom shop VOS treatment. So, I mean, it's not that bad if you're planning on buying one of these to play. I mean, you gotta remember, we picked this up for $3,000. That's a whole $1,000 off, because this is a 335 figured model. You can get the non-figured for $500 less. However, I don't believe they have the blueberry burst in that. But there is a 339, but we can take a peek inside our sound hole. Tells us it's a gloss finish, the model, as well as our serial number, dating it to mid-2023. But I just love the edges on this. In fact, I would actually say I prefer it without the bursts, because it allows you to just take in the color and the flame. But moving on from our primarily maple body, we've got that mahogany neck with a rosewood fretboard. Brand new Gibsons always need a good conditioning treatment, so I went ahead and did that to give it that nice dark even look. But you will notice we have acrylic inlays, and they're the small block style, so like a 64 335 is what they're going for here. Just a little bit more special. You got your binding, all that good stuff. I measure a pretty wide 1.74 inch nut width. That increases to 210 by the 12. 0.87 first fret neck depth, but only 0.94 by the 12. Here's a look at that neck profile, first fret, 12th fret. I wanted to look at this before I said it, but yeah, it definitely starts off a little bit more of a rounded C, but then transitions into kind of a D shape. It gets a bit flat on the back. Moving on to the face of the headstock, we've got our regular Gibson mother of pearl logo with our crown inlay. And the truss rod's looking good on this one, but we should test it because we don't want a situation like that natural Les Paul Custom again. I think I'm traumatized from that because that was such a cool guitar. I hated to send it back, but if your truss rod's toast, it's toast. You got to do the visual inspection, so if you got a bunch of threads sticking out, you're probably going to have an issue. But just because it looks good in photos doesn't mean it's actually going to work. But our truss rod cover is blank, but hey, someone has filed down the edge of our cover because apparently it was too big to fit there. As far as our tuners, it's the nice Clusons, but we'll see more of that over on the back as we head on over to that now. And that's looking like so. This one has a really nice even flaming, and if you're confused why it's a one piece and why I'm not going, whoa, one piece, it's because that's how most 335s are constructed, because remember, it's a laminate construction. They can take a giant block of wood, cut it into many a thin sheets to create multiples of these. But since it's a real wooden veneer, it still does all the figured dancing movement. This is a nice piece. However, right up here, you can see a little bit of a wood knot that was marked as a blemish on this one because it's got like a little bit of a lacquer sink area in between it, which as a player, who could care? But we've got a strap button at the bottom and one here at the heel, and I finally figured it out. Why this neck looks so strange and like purpley grapey grimace. Yeah, that's exactly the best way to describe that. It's because it's not transparent. It's either that or it's so dark that I just can't see the wood grain anymore. But it really is just a solid grape color, and previous blueberry bursts, I don't think were like that. Condition wise, I note a small little ding here. I'm only pointing these out just in case you're curious. What does a Gibson Demo Shop guitar really like. And the more and more I look at the cutaway area, I don't think it's actually intentionally sprayed. I think sometimes there might just be some bleed out from the neck. Or it's reflecting that purple in that blue area to make it look a bit darker. So that first impression might have been wrong on this one. But in Guitar Center's stock photos, the neck almost looked red. But there's our demo stamp with our Made in USA marking and another copy of our serial number. But all said and done, Connor's Blueberry is just a hair over 8 pounds. Let's go ahead, plug it in, and hear how the calibrated T-type pickups sound. So far for me, it's all about that neck pickup. Nice, round, and mellow. And due to that, the middle position's pretty good too. That bridge pickup with just a little bit of dirt on it. It's very clear as well. But still raunchy. I'd call it transparent almost. So there we go, Guitar Center's exclusive Blueberry Burst Figured 335. What are my final thoughts? I was quite impressed with this one. I thought it sounded, and most importantly, played good. It doesn't have that like super stiff feeling to it. It almost felt like a slightly worn in friend, and it had some really nice tones to it with that calibrated T-type set. I think you're gonna like this one, Connor. Thank you for trusting me to forward this one to you. I always love my forwarding service because you can get some interesting stuff, because otherwise I probably would have never reviewed the Blue
blueberry burst, because I didn't even realize it was like a dealer exclusive, nor would I ever notice that the edge is just completely blue, and we just happened to get an absolutely gorgeous example as far as the figuring goes, because not every figured top are created equal. So if you're located out of the USA, but you want to shop in the USA Demo Shop, just remember, I'm here for you. As far as my advice, whether it's worth it to buy off of the demo shop or not, it just depends if you're getting a good enough of a deal or not, and if you mind a few bumps here or there. All right, troglodytes, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll catch you tomorrow on the next one. Take care.